Hey guys, welcome back. We're looking at the Earth's natural resources. Our essential questions, what are the Earth's resources and their uses, and how does the availability of these resources affect people around the globe? Our big ideas, what we want to hit with our learning targets, understand the resources available for our use, understand how energy resources provide fuel, heat, and electricity, know the difference between renewable and non-renewable resources, and then our application targets, understanding of the planet's resources to determine how they shape people's lives and the countries they live in, how they shape those countries' wealth. What are 3 human-made, technology-based products that you use on a near daily basis? If I had to guess, I'd say your phone. I'll say CPU, device, and probably a TV. What do these 3 things have in common? And that's going to be the resources used to make them. Oh, look at that. Cell phone, computer, tablet, and television. And they all require natural materials to be manufactured, or the resources used to make them. Without these materials, our lives would be drastically different. I think we can all agree upon that. I don't know that any of you can imagine going a day without using your cell phone. So what we're looking at here, what goes into a cell phone? What are some of the raw materials when we break that phone down? And in this example, we're looking at an iPhone 5. I know that they just came out with the iPhone X or 10, depending upon how you want to pronounce that. But we have platinum, aluminum, copper, gold, and silver. And everyone would agree that those are valuable minerals that we take out of the planet. And in each of these phones, then it gives you the dollar amount or the value of those materials that go in there. At least 45 million iPhone 5s have made it to market. Producing the metal for those phones took a staggering amount of ore-bearing rock. So we see for those 45 million phones, it took 1.6 million tons. 1.6 million tons. Okay. So when we convert that, that's 3.2 million pounds. 3.2 million pounds. Computers, copper, tin, lead, aluminum, nickel, and chromium. They have plastic, and we know that plastic comes from petroleum or oil, silicone, and ceramics that go into the computers. Using natural resources. Trees, oil, and metals are all examples of natural resources. And a natural resource is any material in nature that people use and value. Understand that there has to be value to it. Okay? We use our geographic lens to try and understand how and why people use these resources. And they can be found in their original state. Example, that would be wind. Often though, we change them to make or manufacture products. We think about metal into bicycles, watches. We just talked about the resources that go into making the phone. Most natural resources are raw materials for other products. Understand that we don't use a lot of them in their natural state. We take the resource and we turn it into something else. So types of natural resources then. They're grouped into 2 types. Renewable, meaning that the earth can replace them naturally, or we can assist with replacing those. So trees, right? Natural gases. And then non-renewable, resources that cannot be replaced. So once we take them out of the ground, They're gone. The earth isn't making any more of them, or at least not anytime soon. How do we manage these resources? They can and need to be managed so we can protect them for the future. Consider for a moment how your life might change if you ran out of trees. Well, it's going to change considerably. Consider understanding that trees help with carbon dioxide. They take in the carbon dioxide and release oxygen. We're seeing problems with that with the reduction in natural rainforests. Think about how your life might change without water. Again, there'd be a drastic change to how you live your life. By managing natural resources, we can repair and prevent resource loss. So that all comes with managing the resources. Over the past decade, the electronic waste industry has seen increased growth, meaning we're working harder to recycle. And we're understanding that there's a need for recycling, or taking the finished product, and once somebody discards it or decides that they don't need it anymore, we're taking the valuable things that went into manufacturing it, we're taking those out and trying to use them again in different ways. So non-renewable resources then, and these should be pretty ingrained: fossil fuels, coal, petroleum, natural gas. And then just thinking about if we have a consumption-production imbalance. And then renewable resources: hydroelectric power, nuclear energy, and wind and solar energy. Minerals are also a resource. Like energy, mineral resources can be quite valuable. They're non-renewable, so again, conservation plays a role in their management. Thinking about the role of recycling in our management plan, and we just talked about that, how electronics recycling has increased over the past decades. Google searches for iPhone recycling. There's an increase in those each time there's a release. When the 5 came out, I still had a 4, and I was able to sell that back then. And I kind of wait. I wait until the next one comes out. So I had the 4, the 6 came out, and I was able to sell my 4 back to the retailer for several $100s. Resources and people. The resources available in a certain region can shape life and wealth for those that live there. The United States, for example, is home to many different resources and allows those that live there many choices on how they live their life. This is drastically different, though, for other countries, or a country that might have an emerging economy, or one that relies on the output of one specific crop or mineral. Resources impact a nation's overall economy. The United States' numerous resources have allowed its economy to grow and help its citizens prosper. A poorer nation, for example, like Western Sahara, doesn't have many resources, and its economy is very weak. Not too many people want to enter into trade agreements if they don't have anything to trade with them. Some nations might have a resource in high demand. Saudi Arabia, for example, with its oil, but they lack other resources, so they don't have a lot of farmland. So then they have to take the oil, and then they're trading it to other places to import food. Your entrance ticket questions then, coming into class, you need to be able to have these answered, and in answering those, explain the difference between renewable and non-renewable resources, and then have written down one example of a renewable resource. That's it for this time. We'll talk to you again soon.